find something a little bit better. Oh. I know I gotta have, oh, baby Emanuel. That's what we'll do. We'll do baby Emanuel. Hey guys, Bullhorn Betty. I hope everybody is doing well. I told you guys I'd come back, and then I got here and I unpacked. I ate a freaking full dinner, and I'm like, I promised them I would come back live. And I got home and I'm like, I got lead in my butt and I don't want to go live, so I didn't go into the studio. I didn't want to deal with the box. I didn't want to deal with audio issues. I didn't have the patience, okay? I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't have the patience. Oh, hey, me and you, Nitwit, April, Kiki. It's nice to see you all, Nitwit. I don't have my buzzers with me. I'll have to remind me tomorrow when we do our live that I'll have to welcome you in Bullhorn Betty fashion, but it has to be when. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to elbow you in the face. Sorry, dear Delilah. It'll have to be Bullhorn Betty style tomorrow, but tonight I'm poo-pooing out, and it's like I'm like, but I did. I got back here and I forgot about all the tech issues with the new box, so I've got to set up the equipment back to the way it was before I did my live this morning, and I don't have the energy. I just don't have the energy. So what you see is what you get. I would love to talk about stuff, but I don't know anything. I know people are still talking and fielding questions about Emanuel. I went and listened to like Fat and Opinionated and some other channels, and everybody's kind of a little hot with this pissing contest that Riverside wants to have with social media. Why, I have no earthly idea. But at this point, I just think they need to shut their pie hole and just focus on the case, which is baby Emanuel, not social media. It seems like they're trying to deflect here. And so that's really all we have, to go on. And of course, Sebastian Rogers, until Eric Craddock's out of office, that case isn't going anywhere because he's got friends that are most likely going to go to jail for a really long time. And so I have no faith in that case. Hawkins County still has Ronnie Lawson, another corrupt situation, and I don't anticipate that we're having anything in that. They're going to wait until this girl's gone for 7 years, and you know what? After 7 years, I think we, the people, can petition the court. Her parents won't, but I think we, the people, can petition the court for her to be found deceased. And once she's found deceased, they're going to have to arrest the parents. So. Because, that's the only things, like these counties in Tennessee, the people that run them, they're not very educated, they're not very smart, and we have to start realizing that, and I think that's what the main problem is. But getting back to baby Emanuel, they still have not found him. They said they knew where he was. We're learning some information about a thrift store or donation of baby clothes to a secondhand store of some sort. We're hearing about a garbage dumpster being utilized by Jake. Again, all secondhand information, maybe even third-hand information. Now, I think it came from Ahmed. I think Ahmed talked to the people. If I know Ahmed, he would have went to the place and talked to the people. So it was the 7th, 8th, and 9th of August. 7th, 8th, and 9th of August that those things were done. But it's particularly interesting for the 8th. The 8th is the one I'm most particularly interested in when it comes to Emanuel, because according to Ahmed, now again, the 8th is interesting to me if true, because it sounds like the 8th is the only time he went back to that area but didn't actually drop anything off to the store. He only threw garbage in their dumpster, which is pretty odd. Why would you drive all the way over there to throw stuff into their dumpster instead of just throwing the stuff in your dumpster at home or in your garbage can at home? So I'm very interested in this whole aspect of it, but it sounds like, Ahmed is being very, very, very tight-lipped about it. We have the press conference from the DA trying to keep some stuff, hidden, because, at the end of the day, they can't blindside the defendant, but they have a better negotiating angle, I guess, when they're not that far into. So this is all really self-serving for the prosecution and, their strengths and abilities, because they're going to try to persuade cooperation and other things. And when social media or even media is out here, that's our job, right? That's why we have freedom of press, and that's something that law enforcement gets frustrated with, and I know that this has been the game since I can remember, but back in the day, I remember the 70s, 80s. I remember the 80s and 90s, and news reporting was a lot more ruthless and brutal than it is. It was a cutthroat industry, okay? Period. It was a cutthroat industry. And I, for the life of me, don't know what happened to our mainstream media where they just bowed down to the government and what the government's wishes were. Because at the end of the day, those things, they need to be thinking this a little differently, because they allow these politicians to control them, not to say what they want. But at the end of the day, the politicians need them more than they need the politicians. Because every single time they have to run for office, who are they going to want to get in front of? They're not going to want to keep paying for media and stuff like this. That stuff gets expensive. They need to rely on those local news networks. And so really, they need to start changing the way they think about politicians, their sheriffs, their mayors and stuff like that. Because what they need to start doing is, if you don't allow us to run the story or you have problems with it, we're not going to cover you, mayor. We're not going to put you on our channel. We'll run your press releases from your Facebook group, And when you start flipping it and you start having more power, then you can restore some good newsworthiness back into the mainstream media. But the mainstream media, especially out in Sumner County, they're bought and paid for. They're handled by the government out there. This here, that's, I think, what their problem is because they can control their local news. They can't control the people out. They can't control the national news, and they can't control us. And why are we still talking about this when we have baby Emanuel? It's because the DA keeps talking about this. And Fat and Opinionated, we'll play all the stuff tomorrow when I get the equipment all set up and straightened out in the office. But Fat and Opinionated was saying something to the effect of, they're wanting us to sit down and shut up, and no, we're not going to do that because of this. And I can't remember. There was just, he had a whole lot of good stuff, in my opinion, related to this new press release. Oh, I remember what it was. It was the fact that they said in the press release that they know where this beautiful child is. That they may know where this beautiful child is, okay? That they have an idea, something to that effect, okay? That they don't know the specific location, but they have an idea. So instead of following up with information about Emanuel, it is again information about misinformation. I'm tired of hearing it. If I hear it from any more from politicians, I'm literally making an Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to find out when their election is. Is it 2026 and 2028? And I'm going to start holding these people accountable, and we're going to start doing it. And I know you guys think, you guys don't know what I do behind the scenes, and I like it like that, and I'm just going to leave it like that. But there is a lot of people like me around this country that work very hard to make sure that things are brought up, that things are noticed, that those conversations are had at on a very large platform. And so I think what we've developed behind the scenes has been working very well to get some of those things, because as you see, we've been talking about things for multiple years, okay? And as you see, there are things that we've been talking about for many years that are starting to have some pay dirt. That didn't just happen overnight. So I'll leave it at that. But we're going to start holding these politicians accountable for how they treat us. Not just us, just the Constitution, for everybody, because it needs to be a fair playing field for all involved, everybody. And right now, we've got freaking somebody that has this case right here with this child playing a pissing contest with social media. Like, when did it get to that point where they're so focused on us that they can't even focus on this? It's like, turn the computer off, all right? I mean, like, you should have a policy in your office, no social media, right? Get back to work. I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry. Get back to work. But we don't really have any new information on Emanuel. We don't know where he is. They haven't indicated that they're out there searching for him. We haven't really heard anything. I haven't heard of any additional spot searches, so that's leading me to believe that they believe this child's in a landfill. Oh, thank you. Who was that? Oh, Lady for Justice. Thank you for the floating heart. I appreciate it. We haven't heard them going out there to search. You know, it seems like since they had an idea of where this child might be, all searches have stopped, which doesn't really go with knowing where a person is. So I'm starting to think that this child, that they truly believe that this child may be in the landfill, that maybe something was indicated, or maybe something that Jake said brought him out to Highway 60, but we all know that they didn't pick up anything there. I mean, not even an article of clothing, not even a torn bag, or, you know, something weird or something scented by the dog. Like, there was nothing. So I have to think that that was a red herring. I have to believe that. I mean, I guess we won't really know for sure until this goes for trial. But we always have to remember that, and this is where the DAs are not going to get any pity from social media, because we have the Koberger effect here, right? How do we know that we're going to play nice like we did in Brian Koberger, and then, you know, everybody just swept everything under the rug? We've got him in a plea deal, no allocution, no evidence, literally, if families having to go up there and give a statement when they don't even know what happened to their loved one. Like, we're not doing this nonsense again. That's what I think the problem is. They don't understand this, that, like, we are a true crime community of millions of people. If true crime was not a huge thing in our livelihood, we would not have Crime Con that's now worldwide. Like, they just did a Crime Con in London, for Pete's sake, you know? And so this idea, this illusion that law, I'm not saying that. Now, I get butthurt from it, but I'm just trying to hopefully somebody here, because I'm pretty sure everybody that has worked their tail off in covering this case with integrity and respect felt really jaded by people. And I think that's going to end up being the bigger conversation. And what did I tell you guys? I told you guys that was not well taken when they did that press conference. You guys, I know people, I know how this stuff works. And I knew as soon as I hear that, they just took all this focus away from Emanuel. And now all this focus on Emanuel is going to be sitting here beating them up, because I'm listening to, I don't think even us content creators have all come together in a united front before and say, like, that was not well received. And yeah, you guys are acting like tough guys, but look at your record, right? Look at your record. We're not playing this. We're not playing this. But you know what it makes me realize? We need to be doing this all over the country. We don't need to just be in Riverside holding people accountable. We need to be all over the country. When we see these things, we need to be going after this. And when politicians want to complain about us being up their crawl, when they had every opportunity to fix the problem before we got here, I have no pity for them. I sleep just fine at night. And I sleep just fine at night being a boil on their ass. Right? And as a matter of fact, we promote being boils on politicians' butts all the time. And it gets crap done. I don't think that they would have had this arrest. This would have just been another case swept under the rug. It really would have, if we didn't all jump in on the 7-month-old. You know, I'm sorry. I don't believe that we would have had as many resources to this case if it did not go big immediately. So I truly believe that Jake, as well as Rebecca, would have gotten away with this a lot longer than they did had it not been for Ahmed. I think Ahmed blew this case up. I mean, I did see it coming through Google. I learned about this. I can't recall any specific person Like in Sebastian Rogers, it was a TikToker that I remember seeing this case from. I don't recall that being, the case here. Hey, James, it's nice to see you. Rose, it's nice to see you. Shaza, I'm sorry, Sabrina, Frank, Melanie, it's nice to see you guys. Lady for Justice, hey, love. Pebbles, the real me too. Aaron, it's nice to see you. JH, hey, guys. There was not really much going on this Saturday night. I went over to Laura's and I came back, and I know I promised you guys I would come here tonight and talk to you, but when I got back here and I went to go set up I went into the office, and I'm like, it's one of those things where you look and then you remember all the problems you had, and you're just like, nah, we ain't doing that. We're not doing that tonight, okay? I don't feel like a computer being broken, okay? I feel like if something went wrong tonight, I might break a computer, okay? I know my limits, okay? This old bag knows her limits. I'm just saying. I know my limits. The computer tonight is an off the topic matter. We need to save a computer, okay? So we decided to save a computer tonight and kill a battery. I've been tapping my fingers waiting. So, yeah, I know. It's like, golly. And, of course, Delilah, she's been going through her little girly thing. And, she gets away from me at Laura's, So, because Laura's got such a big house and a big property. And so she has the other dogs because it's a play date for the dogs, all right? So, one of her dogs, Jameson, is just too old. But I've known him since he was a puppy, so... we gal palette, around, but the other dogs are a lot younger. They like to play a little more rough. She's kind of doing her girly thing, so she's got a diaper on her, and I'm just like, I've been watching her, and it's always the time that I forget to watch her, and it's like, then I'll see her coming in from outside, and I'm like, shit. And Laura's like, what? And I said, she just came in for us. She's like, so what? I said, she's got her diaper on. If I know she's going potty, I want to take her diaper off. I don't want a messy diaper. She doesn't need it, But I guess she got away from me, and so, she had a pee-pee diaper, and thank goodness I changed it. I know it sounds like I have a kid. I do not have a kid. This is my dog, okay? My dog has diapers when she's going through heat and stuff. She's not really the happiest camper right now because... she's just not happy, okay? I think it's because there's her little diaper. You see it? There's her little diaper. You see, I can't help it, Mommy. Let's not pull Mommy's shirt down. I can't help it, Mommy. And why'd you wake me up? I was sleeping just fine before you woke me up. Really? You gotta show everybody I'm in a diaper? You gotta show everybody I'm in a diaper, Mom? Do you not have any at all? I'm sorry, Delilah. Go ahead and sleep right there. Oh, look at that. Nice warm spot. It's still warm for you. It's still warm for you. Just get her. Well, there's some things that go along with it. First of all, I did take her to the vet when she was a puppy, and of course, the minute I get there, they want to put her on chemicals. They want to put her on, heartworm medication and stuff like that. I'm like, whoa, doc, let's just get her through whatever vaccine I want parvo, I want rabies, and a distemperament, like just the basic stuff, okay? And she's like, well, heartworms. I said, look, she's inside. I get the heartworm stuff. She's like 4, at this time, I think she's like 3 or 4 months old. Maybe, I don't even know if she's that old. I can't remember when I took her. But I took her there, and the minute that you get in there, they're wanting to give her medicine, and it's just like, let her get a freaking year old, before you start pumping her body. I said, she's like, well, just preventative. I said, I get it, doc. I said, well, if need be, we'll take a heartworm test. Why don't I just go ahead? So you're okay, doc, okay? I'll go ahead and pay for the heartworm test so you make sure that she doesn't have heartworms, okay? But we're not putting her on heartworm medication. And then I said, after she gets to like maybe a year, maybe I'll consider it at that time. I said, there's no guarantee I'm going to consider it because I don't know what these chemicals are going to do to her liver or her kidneys or God knows what else, you got to think about that. They're saying preventative, but when I was married, my husband's stepfather had an aneurysm. I'm going to tell you this story. I tell this often. Had an aneurysm in his brain. And there was any time he could have just hit his head wrong and he would have died, right? So you can imagine, had it for like 20 or 30 years. this aneurysm. It was right in a spot that they could not operate on. It would have, the operation alone would have killed him. So they left it there, and he was on all these medications. He died from liver and kidney failure from 30 years of being on the medication to save him from his aneurysm. So he ended up dying prematurely, but he ended up dying prematurely from something that was supposed to save him, right? He was kept alive, and who knows that he even needed this medication, right? They gave him this medication as preventative. And they kept him on this preventative medication for 30 years to make sure that aneurysm didn't explode and kill him. And the medication ultimately took out his liver and kidneys. So I think about those things when, doctors say, hey, just take this pill. And you start coming in and say, now I'm starting to get a little heartburn. Oh, that's okay. We'll give you this pill. Well, now I'm starting to get dizzy. Oh, okay, great. Well, we'll go ahead and give you this pill. So in order for you to take your blood pressure or your cholesterol pill, you need 2 medications so your body can take it. Now you're on 3 medications for 1 ailment. I'd rather a doctor tell me, what I can do to fix the problem naturally instead of getting on medication. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes medication really is the only therapy. But I'm still very cautious about my dog, even though she's just a puppy, and I know she's not going to outlive me, but I still want her to live as long as possible. And I'm not like anti-medication or anything, or anti-doctor. I'm just can we do it some other way? So I just want to see if there's other paths instead of the normal path to travel. That's all. 1 in 50 people has an aneurysm and live their whole life and live their whole life and never know it. It's often found incredibly incidentally after something like a car accident. Yeah, then they realize that the aneurysm's there because they hit their head and it ruptured, right? Yeah, but it's just crazy because it's life-saving medication until it's not, and then you're like for forever and ever and ever. We're always going to wonder: did he ever need it? Could he have lived this life? Could he have lived longer? You always have the woulda, shoulda, couldas, what ifs. It sucks. It sucks. Betty, I hope that you are doing well. Oh, thank you, Kim. Yeah, we're just I was supposed to do a live. I've got a whole show sitting in my email because what I do, I find stuff and then I email it to myself and put it as show. And then when I'm preparing for the show, I just go through my emails and click them all and put them in order. And now we have a show. And it's stuff that I've already watched because that's how I emailed it to myself. I watched it and it was interesting. So I emailed it to myself and said, I want to play it for the show. So I've got the show already built. Some of the information I'm sure by tomorrow is going to be stale, so I'll have to look at some news and update but we'll still have to go over because we never went over it anyways. But I wasn't thrilled about having to break down my entire system, build it back up just to go live. So we're in office 2. You guys can see the green screen behind me. This is, as you guys can see, these are pillows. Okay. Don't deceive. If you notice the title, it says I'm going to bed. Okay. I'm going to bed. I'm just saying, I'm going to bed. Today is over. It was lovely. I had a great time. Delilah's clearly tuckered out. She had a great day for her play date. I loved it. Like last week, everybody in Laura's house had COVID. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not coming over. So Delilah was bouncing off the walls by the time we go there. And it's really weird because her and TT's like her aunt, her blood aunt. And every time her and TT get together, it's like the first 10 minutes, they just want to tear each other apart. And then it's like they're best friends again. And that only happens when we skip a week. Like when we go every week, you'll put her down and TT will go, and she'll go, and then it's like they run off together and go play. But it always seems like every time, like if I don't go over there, if I skip a week, it's like when they get together, it's like they got to beat the crap out of each other. Then they're best friends and ready to play. And it's like, and then you hear all the people say, stop it. I'm like, I was telling her sister, I'm like, just let them go. I said, it only lasted a couple of minutes. They're going to be best friends. Just no point in even yelling at them at this point. Just let them go. That's the way they say hi and kiss each other, I guess. I don't know. I know they love each other. They they love playing with each other. It's just that first initial thing. It's like, you're in my gate. Yeah. But it's so funny. I gotta tell you this. This is gonna crack you guys up. Okay, this is gonna crack you guys up. So I'm over at Laura's house, and her dogs bark. Okay, they just bark when if the wind blows the wrong way, they're in the window barking. Okay, they're looking down at the road, and good gracious, let a freaking delivery person come by. The delivery people, if they didn't know my best friend, they would be scared to drop the boxes off because of the dog. I mean, they just go at it. If you didn't know the dogs, you would think they're ready to just eat you up, right? And so every now and again, Delilah, she'll try to act like she owns the place. Okay, she'll like, oh, yeah. I'm like, I look at her like, what the hell you doing? Like, you got her dogs are in the window, and she's like, and I'm like, you don't do that. And so today, TT was doing that, and she was getting ready to do it. I said, I taught you better. And she looks over at me. She's like, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say mine are the heathens? And I said, well, if the shoe fits. I'm just saying, if the shoe fits. And Delilah didn't. She sat in my lap, and she goes, all these other dogs are going, and Delilah's just sitting there going, I really want to bark, Mommy. Can I bark, please? Can I bark, please? I think, but the funniest thing is Laura was like, okay, well, because we go and hang downstairs. It's by she's got anyway. I don't want to express where I do, but we have it downstairs. We have it upstairs, and so downstairs is a little bit warmer, because there's no AC down there. It's like an open area and stuff like that. So we'll go down there and hang out by the pool and watch some TV or whatnot. But occasionally we'll go upstairs. But we were upstairs, and I was like, you know what? Let's go down and see Sis, because Sis is downstairs watching her football game. And she's like, okay. And so she's sitting there lollygagging in the kitchen. So I'm like, I was trying to say, bring your stank ass on, right? Well, as I was turning around to say, bring your stank ass on, I ended up saying, bring your skank ass on. And I said, did I just say that? She goes, yes, ma'am. I said, we'll go downstairs. She goes, that's probably a good place for you. So we were out front. We were sitting out on one of her balconies, and we're looking out, and I can't remember what she said. I think she called me a heifer or something like that. And I said, well, I guess it's better than calling me a skank. Shit, you not. I really didn't mean to, but I had it in my head it's going to be stank. And you stank ass on. And it didn't turn out that way. It didn't turn out that way. So we have good times. We have good times. We have good times. Don't have fur babies, but I do have grandbabies. Took them to the... Aww! I know. It wiped... It's the heat. I found out because, since she watches... My best friend's sister loves football. She's just football. Florida State fan. I'm a Florida State fan too, but I haven't watched football in years. And so she's glued to the football TV. And there was... What was it? 68, I think, is what they had for the highs in Ohio today. 68. Is anybody in here from Ohio? If anybody... I have a heifer shirt. Is anybody from Ohio in here? Raise your hand. I'm Ohio. Was it 68 degrees here? Because if it was 68 degrees there... I'm not going to like you, because I'm about to tell you, you need to blow some of that cool air down. We need some of that 68 degree holding air. Come on down. Come on down. That is cold. I'm PA, and it's about that right. That's just not fair. In the 60s and the high is 72. I was sitting in 96 degree weather today, woman. I identify as Ohio. I identify as Ohio, damn it. How did the middle of the country get so cold? Ugh. I knew I didn't like you guys. Oh, and you guys just think you're going to come in here and just start flaunting it like that. Well, aren't you special? Aren't you just special? Guys, if you're burning up, like if you feel like you're like hell has no fury, it sounds like we need to make a trip to the middle of the country, okay? Well, start tonight. Oh, it sounds like that. Sounds like that's where most of us need to be. They think they're some kind of special. Rainy today. Well, and that's what I'm dealing with tomorrow. Like I'm gonna be. It's gonna be rainy. Like I feel like I'm. Like I don't know. I feel like a captive. I've been held captive on this island. This island of insanity. I was freezing my ass off this morning. I don't want to hear that. That is just not fair. I'm just going to tell you. Obviously, we're going to have to start doing some weather recaps in the morning. I guess you guys are going to have to start every so often. We do this thing where we make you hit the like button and come back in and tell you where you're from and what state you're from or area. If you would like to share, even more closer to your area, like the county, and tell us the temperature. I guess we're going to have to start doing that in the mornings again. Because I need to find out where my next case needs to be. And I'm just saying, it needs to be in a colder state. Okay. Medic Biker, how are you doing, Bionic Woman? How's the healing going? Are you ready to start cutting a rug and getting out there? I wish it was in the cooler in Naples, Florida. I wish I was in a cooler. Naples, that's further south than me. It's not getting colder. Like, I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe somewhere a little further north. Jacksonville's like right on that Georgia, Florida line area. So is Tallahassee. Like, I think they get a little bit more, seasons than the rest of us. I know they have a better chance of getting some snow. Didn't you say you didn't like? I don't like being freezing cold, but you know what? I don't like feeling like I'm in hell either. And I look at it like this: I can only take so many clothes off, but when you're cold, I can put a lot more clothes on than I can take off. Okay, so I'd much rather, if I had a choice between too hot or too cold, I'd go for too cold any day of the week. All right, but you got to make sure I layer. Yes, I do not like cold that makes me feel like it's not fair. Because when I was talking about the cold, we were in Idaho, okay? And we were out in front of King Road. It was 17 degrees. I felt like my fingertips had frozen. I felt like if somebody touched my fingertips, they were going to crack and crumble off my hands. I mean, it was severe pain. I couldn't even hold, I guess how I had to hold my hands. They were in so much pain. It was so cold. I didn't have gloves. I forgot my gloves when we got there. We drove straight there from the airport. We jump out of the car. It's a crazy kind of scene. And we're having to set up our equipment. We're having to get, positioned. We got media there. I'm dealing with crappy, photographers that think they're going to push us around and say, I remember looking at one guy and I'm just like, he's like, yeah, I'm just letting you know, if I got to get there and get a picture, I might have to move you and your equipment. I said, let me tell you, buddy, something. I understand you don't have much respect for me, but you're going to. My name's Bullhorn Betty. I'm not like your average, I can't remember, Olivia's going to say, I think something like, I'm not your average YouTuber, okay? You touch me or my shit, you're going to jail. So why don't you stay on your side and I'll stay on my side. Next time, pick a better spot. Don't. A guy coming up to a girl, a grown man coming up to a girl and talking to her like that. Touch my shit. I double dog dare ya. That's a funny thought. But he didn't touch my stuff, and he didn't have to move me anytime when he took a picture either. And then he was over at Brian Koberger's unit when I pull up there. So what, you planning on pushing me over now again too? I'm such an asshole when people piss me off. And I'm so sarcastic. Like, and every time, that man had to see me everywhere he went, and he's just waiting. I said my piece, I let it be. I got to be honest with you. But every time he saw me, he was rolling his eyes. He's like, I ain't talking to her. Bye. Bye. He was a jerk. I'm in West Virginia. Are you cold too? Is everybody in the freaking chat cold but Bullhorn Betty from Florida? We're gonna be the new Seinfeld of YouTube. We can find a way to talk about 35 minutes worth of a whole bunch of horse shit. Did Betty become the new Seinfeld? What's the topic? Soup Nazi. Okay. Can I have the soup? No soup for you. I'm in Washington. Isn't that the weirdest thing? Like, you're all the way up there, Casey, in Washington. And you're as hot as Florida, but everybody in the middle, how do we get cold in the middle? Like, what do we have? A cold sandwich? Like, heat on both sides? I mean, can we create a funnel that kind of goes from Washington down here? You guys blow it down here, I'll blow it back up there, maybe cool the whole United States down. You can come and take some of the cold, Betty. I want some of the cold. I'm out there. I just looked at Laura and I said, Laura? She goes, yeah. I said, I'm going upstairs. I'll see. Like, thanks for all the fans and stuff. I can come down here and do the sauna, we did like 20 minutes, But after that, it's like, you guys are, they do yard work. Like, those, they're used to that heat. I'm not. I stay in this house, I go out every now and again to fix my freaking front. I'm just going to take some weed killer and just kill the whole grass. Then I don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm serious is what I'm going to do. People are probably like, what are you doing? Well, when the weeds take over your whole... I got vine weeds. I was looking... I've been out there pulling weeds out of my yard. Like, literally out of my yard. And there's this vine weed that has literally taken over the yard. So now I've got that little rolly thing with the, like the stakes on it. So I'm out there rolling this thing, trying to aerate the ground. I'm trying to, get all those little pellets to kill the weeds and feed the grass. Well, I did that and it started working, and I did a whole entire bag, like a 7,500 square foot area. In that area, several treatments. Like I did several treatments in accordance with the stuff on the back. And it still hasn't killed all the weeds on the ground. And I go back out there and you're seeing that they're already starting to form again. Stupid freaking vine weeds. It's killing the grass. It like grows. Your grass looks like it's green, but when you look at it, it's a freaking vine. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen. I don't do yard work, okay, folks? Okay, I'm learning about grass, okay? I'm not going to teach you everything learning about grass because I'm sure I'm going to lose some subscribers if I do. We're not going for a grass show, and I'm not talking about the funny kind either. I'm talking about the crap that's literally out your front door as you sit out there, okay? That's grass. That's the grass I'm talking about. We're not talking about the funny business. But we've got no grass. We've got vines. We got a vine that's growing that has taken over the yard. And I need to kill the vine so I can grow the grass. I might have to rethink this whole home ownership thing. I don't know if I told you this story, but when I was growing up, I was told that you grow up, you do good grades, which I did good grades every now and again, right? Then you go off, you go to college, you make good grades, you graduate college. Well, they never tell you what you do after college. Like, most of us probably thought we're going to go to college, get this prestigious degree or whatever we're going to college for, and we're going to get out and we're going to freaking retire. Nobody told us about this nonsense, okay? I don't like yard work. I don't even have time for yard. Like, my mom, she does it for like a pastime. Like, she gets out there and actually wants to sweat. Who the hell wants to sweat? Okay, I don't know why I wasn't cut from that cloth. Okay, I don't know how many of you guys are cut from the cloth that wants to go out and sweat and get dirty. Maybe I lost my child. I don't know. It does. That sounds like work. Okay, it doesn't sound like home ownership. And I thought I was supposed to be retired when I got out of college. What is this shit? I don't know. Where's my $1 million? Where's my people that work for me and mow my yard and clean my house? We got a lot of work to do. I hate yard work. I don't even like mowing the yard with a rider. Okay, it even comes with a cup holder, right? I got a cup holder. I got the riding lawnmower, and it's like goes zoom, 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 zoom. And so I don't even really have to get off. It's not like I gotta push it. I just gotta go for a ride, and I don't even like doing that. Just saying. I feel a sense of accomplishment when I work in the yard. Well, I felt a sense of accomplishment when I pulled 5 trees out of my yard, when they came toppled over in a hurricane. And now I've got to go into another hurricane season, and these yahoos next door never even never even cut the dead trees out of there, because they died whenever we had the first hurricane. They all kind of fell over into my yard. I cut them all the way to the fence. Can you believe they never even did anything with the stuff on their side of the fence? They just destroyed my whole entire yard. And they still have the trees that are half dead still standing up, just waiting for the wind, a real strong wind, to blow them over. I mean, I don't think that the neighbors next door will be happy until they kill somebody over in that trailer park with their trees. I really don't. And it really is sad that it's going to take my county, and somebody's going to have to die from those trees before my county's going to force that house to cut them down. I've tried every other way outside of suing them. So I've called the county. I've done everything. I've washed my hands of it. I at this point really don't care. I mean, I own my property. If their shit comes down, I've got enough records. They'll be 100% responsible from this point forward financially for my home if their trees hit my home now, because they've had every opportunity to take care of the problem. They have failed to take care of the problem. The county has tried to reach out to the owners, and now we're going into hurricane season. So wish me luck, folks. Wish me luck. Hi. Oh. All right, guys. Well, I've been with you guys. Thank you for letting me bend your ear. I'm glad we kind of got to talk about something besides. I mean, we talked a little bit about Emanuel, but not too much. It was kind of a relaxed day. I'm sure there's a lot of information going on, and tomorrow will be a fresh day, and I'll get back to the gunky funky and funky gunky, and we'll figure out what we got. Shit, where I live, your grass can't even get tall. Yeah, code enforcement. I'm in the county. I'm not in the city. City has very, very, very strict code enforcement rules, but not as bad as some areas that I've heard. But county, like my people in the county, they really don't mess with us. I mean, not that anybody does anything wrong. We've just worked really hard to try to make sure that we don't have a lot of rules. That's why we don't live in the cities, and we don't go through those. Like, I can run a business for I just have a lot more abilities being in the county versus in the city limits. I would be paying out the nose to run this business if I lived in the city limits. They would tax the crap out of me, and I don't like that. So you guys know me. Sticking to the man. Sticking to the man. Hopefully one day I'll get some solar panels and really stick it to the man. That's our motto. That's our motto. Live in the mountains. They don't worry about us. Yeah. Well, we have major crime here. Like my sheriff, trust me, he doesn't really care about people working on their vehicles unless somebody complains. Then they'll send somebody out. But if he doesn't go and mess with people just to mess with them. That's what I like about it. Like even us, like we work with our government to make sure that homelessness isn't a crime. That our veterans get a fair shake here, that we know we have a substance abuse problem. We're trying to bring in more resources. We're trying not to punish people that have fallen on hard times. We punish people that are committing crimes, breaking into houses, stealing cars, doing all around, stupid stuff. We want people that are held accountable for it. But even there, we try to get them, if they're young enough, we try to get them in diversion programs and try to make sure their path is uncluttered, and it's really taking the stigma away from children in school being bad kids. They're not bad kids, they're products of their environment. And if they're displaying poor behavior in school, it's probably because they're receiving poor behavior at home. And if we're not going to fix the home environment, you're not going to punish these kids for being a product of that home environment. So, part of the stuff is working with the at-risk youth, trying to make sure that they don't get in the system in the first place, and really giving them a fighting chance to break, years of toxic cycles in their lives. And this is from like all over the place. So those are things that I wish more people would get involved with. And we do. Like, we've inspired some people here on the show that have gotten involved with a whole bunch of stuff. That they've gotten involved in child advocacy groups and stuff throughout the country. And so that I'm always proud to hear those types of stories where people are getting involved, people are going this and doing that. And it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm a political person, I lean a certain way, and I don't expect my audience to lean my way. If they choose to, that's great. If they don't, that's also great. I like to empower everybody's voice to be heard, because I think this country is great, and I think it does take both sides. Am I mad at one side or the other? I'm sure we all could be mad at one side or the other, and whatever. I still think that we all should probably at some point unify. That's just my point. I just see all the good we did for Cracker Barrel. I still can't get over freaking Cracker. I heard Aunt Jemima's coming back too. Can we get the Redskins back for the trifecta? Come on, America. Come on, America. I'm rooting for America. I just assumed. Anyways, we're not kidding. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole again. So you guys have a great night. God bless you. I'm glad that many of you guys are watching. That means you guys aren't out doing all around stupid stuff. If you guys are out drinking, please don't drive. There's so many ways. Like, when I was growing up, we didn't have Ubers. We didn't have Lyfts. We didn't have, tow-to-go services or anything like that. I can tell you, when I was coming back from Laura's house, cops here in Manatee County, they were everywhere, because my sheriff doesn't play. So, we're safety over here. And trust me, I don't care about your bleeding heart story. You got alcohol in your breath, you go to jail here, okay? They do stops. They do periodic stops on weekends like this. But I can tell you, just coming from one side of the county over to the other side of the county, I literally saw like 3 officers within 20 feet of each other driving on it, so they're literally everywhere. And I have to think that anybody, of course, of all weekends, this weekend, it's going to be tight. So just be careful. Don't be irresponsible. It's not worth it. And the cost could even be greater than you could ever imagine. So it's just easy to abstain. So I want you guys to have a wonderful weekend. I want you to enjoy your family and friends this Labor Day weekend. I want you to have a lot of great food, a lot of great laughs. But just be careful, if you're going to do that, this day and age, make sure it's in the budget to make sure you get home safely. As a matter of fact, you know me, I'm going to tell you, don't even drive it. If you have to go somewhere, Uber there, Uber home. You never have to worry about making the mistake of forgetting to call Uber, right? You have no choice because you have no car. The only way you're going home is if you Uber. I'm just saying. Uber is your best friend on Labor Day weekends. So is Lyft. And if all else fails, tow to go. Or call your mommy. Just saying. She might beat your ass. But call mommy. All right, guys. See you soon.